Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Outer Rim Cantina. My name's Alan, and today I'm here to give you your weekly Star Wars news roundup. If you're new to the channel, every Saturday, well, usually every Saturday and not Tuesday, I release a video that goes over all the big Star Wars news from the week in one place so you can keep up to date with what's happening in a galaxy far, far away. Sometimes there isn't enough news to make a roundup, of course, but that's not the case this week as there's quite a bit of news to cover, so let's get started. Our first story of the past week is all about the Rise of Skywalker and its Oscar nomination for sound editing. Recently, Lucasfilm sound editors Matthew Wood and David Ackard sat down with Clayton Sandell for Good Morning America for an interview talking about the wondrous sound effects we hear in the Rise of Skywalker. When talking about recording explosions at a firefighter training facility in Denver, Ackard mentions that the two took cover inside from high winds, and the noises that could be heard from inside the metal building would be perfect for the atmosphere of the ruined Death Star. Quote, Matt and I just wandered into this thing to get out of the wind for a minute, and we're like, oh my god, this sounds amazing in here. The wind is whistling through these metal containers, and you can hear some kind of metal rattle and the bang of a door somewhere. The pair also revealed how some of the sound effects and even character lines were recorded, such as Adam Driver recording some lines in a closet surrounded by a bunch of clothes. It was also revealed that Ewan McGregor recorded his lines for Obi-Wan under a blanket suspended between two chairs. When discussing how they brought Princess Leia's character to life in the movie, Wood said, quote, we pulled from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, as well as any behind-the-scenes footage we had. Crafting that was hard, but we felt like we wanted to do right by Carrie. We all have our own special relationship with Carrie Fisher, not only as fans but also as colleagues, and we wanted to tell that story right for her. When talking about special cameos with some of the sounds heard throughout the film, Wood and Ackard acknowledged that there is a special scream within the movie, but would not confirm whether or not it was George Lucas doing the scream like some fans have speculated. An interesting piece of trivia they did reveal, though, was that during the scene on Exegol of the Sith Cultists, they can be heard chanting, Revenge, Soul, Kill, which is a phrase that Sam Witwer, the man responsible for the voice of Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Solo, came up with. Continuing with the Rise of Skywalker news, ILM released a video this week on YouTube showcasing the visual effects techniques that helped bring the film to life. Episode 9's second Oscar nomination came from the ILM team and their visual effects work on the film. The biggest difference between Episode 9 and previous Star Wars films is the work ILM put in to bring Princess Leia and the late Carrie Fisher back to life on the big screen. The team used body double stand-ins for Carrie's scenes, then through movie-making magic, they adjusted various effects such as lighting, hair, outfits, and pretty much everything else. During the scene with a young Luke and Leia training together, Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd, who also plays Lieutenant Connix, served as the stand-in for young Leia. During post-production, ILM used an image directly from Return of the Jedi to superimpose a young Princess Leia's face over Lourd's. If you want to read the full article about the visual effects and watch the video clips for yourself, you can find the link down in the description. Moving on from movie news to a bit of Star Wars gaming news, Jedi Fallen Order is anticipated to sell over 10 million copies and well exceed EA's original estimates for the fiscal year. After years of turmoil surrounding EA and the Star Wars IP, the company seems to finally be getting the hang of things with Fallen Order. The company had estimated the brand new single-player adventure game to sell between 6 or 8 million copies within the fiscal year, but it's apparently on track to break 10 million. This report comes straight from EA's CFO, Blake Jorgensen, who recently did a quarterly earnings call at the end of last month, stating that Fallen Order had, quote, very strong results for a single-player action game. Fallen Order ranked in the top 10 best-selling games for 2019, despite its late release in November in the United States. In addition, the game is also the 5th best-selling game on PS4 and Xbox One, and comes in as EA's second best-selling title of 2019, falling just behind Madden NFL 20. It seems that despite pre-release interest in the game being dull compared to other titles throughout 2019, it's ended up as a strong contender with other AAA titles from the year, and a big win for EA. The company has been known for focusing more on multiplayer titles over the last several years because they believe that single-player games don't sell as well. With the success of Fallen Order, hopefully EA will change its tune on single-player titles and deliver more great experiences like it in the future. If the rumors are to be believed, Respawn is potentially already working on a sequel game. What we don't know is whether the game will continue the story of Cal Kestis and the Mantis crew, or follow the adventures of another Force user. We'll just have to wait and see. Keeping up with Star Wars gaming news for a minute, Battlefront 2 just got a brand new update last Monday, named the BB Update, for adding the droids BB-8 and BB-9E as heroes to the game. In addition to the 2 new droid heroes, the sequel trilogy era has also come to the game's large-scale conquest-like mode, now called Supremacy, which has been changed from its original title, Capital Supremacy. The reason for the name change comes because of the announcement of future content based around the original trilogy era coming to the game mode, with both the Death Star 2 and Scarif being added as playable maps in the near future. The difference between those two maps, compared to the Clone Wars and sequel trilogy maps in the mode, is that the new original trilogy maps won't have a capital ship phase and will instead focus on ground combat only. For now though, Jakku, Takodana, and Agent Kloss are the 3 sequel planets added to the Supremacy mode, with an era selector to choose between playing the prequel or sequel maps. If you're interested in learning more details about the newest Battlefront 2 update, you can click or tap right up here to check out the video I released last Tuesday going over all the major things brought to the game. Jumping to Star Wars TV news, thanks to the Q1 earnings call with Bob Iger earlier this week, we now know the official release date of The Mandalorian Season 2. After the final episode of Season 1 debuted on Disney+, Jon Favreau posted on social media that Season 2 was in production and would premiere this fall. He didn't give an official release date back then, but Bob Iger gave us a more precise date of October 2020. I assume we'll learn the actual day Episode 1 will premiere, either at the end of August or sometime in September. Along with this, Iger also confirmed what many had speculated about Lucasfilm mainly focusing on TV projects for the near future. We already learned that the theatrical releases of Star Wars films were going on hiatus, and we wouldn't be getting another film until at least 2022. I suspect, however, that we'll have plenty of Star Wars TV, books, and comics to tide us over until then. And speaking of books and comics, this week we got a brand new excerpt of the novel Star Wars Shadowfall, a sneak peek at the Rise of Kylo Ren issue number 3, and the release of a brand new Darth Vader mini-comic series from Greg Pak. Starting off with Shadowfall, an excerpt of the new novel set to be released in June was just released by IO9. This book will be a sequel to Alexander Freed's Star Wars Alphabet Squadron, and continue the story of General Harrison Dula's ragtag fighter pilot squadron as they face off against the elite, former Imperial TIE fighter squadron known as Shadow Wing. You can check out the excerpt for yourself by following the link in the description. The Rise of Kylo Ren has become one of the most popular Star Wars comic series and Marvel comic series ever, and StarWars.com just released a few pages of issue number 3 this week to give us a sneak peek. I'll be doing my own full breakdown and review of the entire Rise of Kylo Ren series once the final issue has been released later this year. You can check out the pages in detail on the Star Wars website, again, linked below. Finally, to end off our book and comic news, we have the release of Darth Vader number 1 by Greg Pak. Sure, it might be just another Vader comic, like we haven't already gotten enough of those, but this one might be pretty interesting. Issue number 1 shows Vader having flashbacks to his past as Anakin Skywalker, and dealing with what he has become since then. The time frame of this comic is taking place just after the events on Cloud City in The Empire Strikes Back. I'll have a full review of issue number 1 up on the channel on Thursday. And our final bit of news from this week comes from Walt Disney World, and the unveiling of the brand new Galactic STARCUISER attraction. The rumored Star Wars hotel that was said to be tied into Galaxy's Edge has finally been revealed, and it's not what a lot of people thought it would be. Galactic StarCruiser is set to debut in 2021, and according to the Imagineering team at Disney, it's going to be unlike anything we've experienced before. I was already a fan of Galaxy's Edge and how immersive it is the second I stepped into it in December, but Galactic StarCruiser sounds like it's going to crank that immersion up to 11. Galactic StarCruiser is going to be a 2-day, 2-night experience where guests will arrive at a cruise-like terminal, drop off their bags, and board a small pod that will take them up to the Halcyon StarCruiser. From there, guests will be shown to their rooms, which can fit up to 5 people with a full-size bed and bunk beds. Throughout the trip, guests will be invited to participate in a variety of activities including lightsaber training with a real training probe, a tour of the bridge, and an excursion into Black Spire Outpost on Batuu. The experience is going to be designed to place the guests inside their very own Star Wars adventure, and the skills you learn through the various activities along the way will come in handy later on in the trip. There's no word yet on pricing, availability, or any other details like that, but you can expect this experience is going to be expensive. Still, it'll probably end up booking out for at least 6 months, if not a full year, within the first week of launch. That's it for the Star Wars news from this past week. If you want to learn more about anything I talked about in the video, you can find the links to everything in the description down below. That's all the time I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed getting your weekly fix of Star Wars news, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video, as those really do help a small channel like this, and consider subscribing if you want to see more Outer Rim Cantina content in your subscription feeds every week. I hope to see you back here on Thursday for another Star Wars video. Until then, may the Force be with you.